Hello. No one is here yet, but I'm just gonna start talking because it is 1 minute past time. I'm just after closing at the shop, waiting for a few friends to join, but we are gonna be chatting with a woman today about.
Better medium.
Hi. Can you hear me and see me and all of that?
Yes.
Okay. There is a couple more people that are joining, but I see people coming right now, so I'll maybe wait until we are all here, or do you want to wait till later to add everybody?
Um, Whenever you're comfortable.
Ashley, okay. Who else? If Ashley, if you want to request to be here. Aha.
Okay.
And let's see. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Now I think we're just missing Ashley. It's so nice to meet you.
Yeah, you guys do. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited to dive in.
Yeah,
A request to be in, I think, is the easiest way. Let's see. Maybe I can do it. Oh, there you go.
Andrea, however you're sitting, you look a lot taller than me, which is not technically true.
Hi,
it's on angle. Hi.
Hi.
All here.
There's my buddy. She's participating.
This is the biggest live that I have ever done. 4 people. This is a lot. This is awesome.
I do this functionality now, though, on IG Live.
Oh my gosh. It's so nice. It's like Zoom, but letting everybody join in. I can do a quick overview of what we're going to be talking about, and then if everybody wants to kind of introduce themselves and then where your role is in this launch that we're celebrating and chatting through today, if that works.
Sounds perfect.
That's great.
Okay, so for anybody who doesn't know, I'm chatting with these ladies, celebrating and kind of talking about the launch of a brand new product. I guess it was a parent guide about talking to your kids about human trafficking. And so they are looking to chat with moms specifically about bridging the topic of trafficking online, specifically, I think, right, with your kids ages like 8 and above, because we all know that kids are highly engaged online. And so I know that trafficking kind of has evolved as well to match that. So they've released a guide that just came out today, and they're going to be doing a series of lives to kind of introduce it. So that is the broad overview. And then if you guys want to go ahead and say who you are and your role in the launch.
Definitely.
How we
go first?
I'll go. My name is Ashley, and I'm a survivor and advocate and a mother of 4 of Corona Rising. And I'm working with both of these lovely ladies at the bottom. I don't know if you guys are at the bottom or top, but the parent guide.
Ashley, thank you. I'm Andrea Powell, and I am one of the co-founders of Corona Rising. And Corona Rising is a survivor-led initiative to take the past that survivors have experienced and use it for survivors everywhere. And we partner with my good friend Alia and Freedom Forward to develop this guide. I'll let Alia introduce herself and maybe share a little bit about the guide itself, but hoping it's super conversational. I know for some people joining in, either like, it's over there, or it's not related, but I hope as we unveil how to kids, you'll see that it is closer to home than you think, and it doesn't have to be because knowledge.
Yeah, it's great to be here. I'm Alia. I am the co-founder of Freedom Forward. It was great to work on the guide with these 2 wonderful women. We created the guide and its partner website because when we were starting Freedom Forward a couple years ago, we did a series of focus groups with survivors of trafficking, and we heard again and again that they wished somebody had talked to them about issues of human trafficking, pornography, sextortion, healthy relationships, starting in elementary school.
Wow.
And so then we asked them, well, if you were to receive that information starting in elementary school, what would have been the ideal way to get that information? Would it have been in an animation or a comic book or through social media? And actually 67% of the survivors we talked to said that they wished that a parent or a caregiver had sat down with them and had real conversations. And so we then went to the internet and said, okay, what's out there? And could only find a few tip sheets, but there was really no easy starting place for how do you have these conversations? What are some activities you could do that are age appropriate? How do you introduce this? And these topics that our kids are really facing every day now, and make sure that they are strong and resilient and prepared to go out in the world and navigate things on their own.
Wow.
So that's how we got started.
That's so awesome. And it's probably so exciting to see it all coming to fruition, and everything is live now. We can direct people to where they can get the guide and all of that at the end, but
Yeah.
we only have 20 minutes, so we might as well just jump right in. I guess, Aaliyah, you already answered the first question that I had, I think was about why the guide came to be. So we can jump down to Andrea. I would love to hear what you hope for parents to learn from the guide, and maybe just an overview of what is in there, and why these conversations are important to have.
Absolutely. So first of all, we want parents to feel credible knowledge about what human trafficking is. There's a lot of sensational information out there. A lot of and the reason it's so important to counter that, it's not just because it's wrong and just it's agitating for the field, but it's also because misinformation not only reaches you, parents, but it reaches law enforcement, teachers, social workers. And when you don't know what you're looking for, you're not going to identify that young person who's in crisis or in need. In addition to developing this guide and working with Freedom Forward, we also support survivors who are currently incarcerated in jail as a result of their trafficking, but had a teacher or a family member, someone seen that they were in crisis, and these so it makes real impact. To have that real information. We also want parents to feel more comfortable having those conversations with their kids, be they 8 years old or older. And so in order to be comfortable talking to your kids, you have to with yourself. Speak to a young man, a young boy who was unfortunately online, and his parents were connected to Alia, and parents were really facing a lot of shame, felt really bad, and like, how could talk to our kids about trafficking? We've done everything right. And as hard as this is, the fact that he trusted you, he's done a pretty good job. And so I think that's what I want parents to feel comfortable to trust themselves. And then finally, to really understand that while it can happen in many different ways, when we develop the guide, we try to unpack activities that are educational and fun and age appropriate and kid friendly. And Ashley and another survivor on my team worked pretty hard to make sure that it was fun. The old people here didn't do so that's we're hoping that for them to get out of it.
That's so cool. I love what you just said about kind of the proactive approach instead of a fear-based parenting approach, because I think it's something that's so easy for parents to just be like, we're not going to talk about it, we're going to pretend like it doesn't exist, and then kids see stuff online or whatever. And my kids are younger. They're not quite at 8. My oldest is 7. So this is something that we're very much thinking about. She's asking for a phone already and all these things. So this is very much, at the forefront of our minds as parents.
Yeah. I have a 7-year-old too, and she actually has a definition of trafficking that I think is super kid appropriate. She's like, it's when someone takes your freedom and they don't want to give it back.
Yes. Yeah, and kids understand these conversations. I think we don't give them enough credit, and it's scary, but I think this is a great way to bridge the gap between something that might be fear-based and filled with a lot of misinformation, like you said, to filling it with facts and empowering our kids instead of just saying, hey, this is a scary thing. Okay, next question is for Ashley. If you will give me a quick elevator version of what human trafficking is, and then share a few things that you wish you learned about human trafficking before your experience?
Okay, so if you guys see me
That's a
glancing
hard question.
a
Yeah.
little bit, so please excuse me if you see me over here. I'm going to try to be here, but I'm be back and forth.
Okay,
Um,
you're fine.
no, yeah. So human trafficking is forced labor, which is also known as sexual slavery. It is a crime that forces people to provide labor and commercial sex unwillingly. Like Andrea said, like your freedom is snatched. Whether you coming into it thinking, oh, okay, and willingly, and then it turns out to something that you're forced to do and things of that nature. It's crazy because Alia said one of them, and it's so crazy because like the statistics, the percentage wise, is so true. Because one of the things I wish I knew that I put on my paper, I wish I knew what human trafficking was.
Yeah.
Um,
Before, yeah.
I really wish that my parents would have talked to me about it. And it doesn't necessarily mean human trafficking. It goes into good touch, bad touch.
Mm,
It goes into don't talk to strangers.
yeah.
It goes into all that, the birds and the bees. I never was really taught about none of that. The
Yeah.
second thing I wish I knew more about what were red flags that made me at risk for exposure to human trafficking. It was introduced to me as prostitution. So
Mm,
I didn't know that it was a form of,
mm-hmm.
you know, um, sexual slavery. To me, it was just a prostitution. It wasn't. I never human trafficking did not come into play into my life until I got older. And like
Wow.
you're a victim of human trafficking.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that. Just to me, it was just known as prostitution.
Mm-hmm.
The third thing I wish I knew was that anyone can become a victim, and this is a problem that we face globally. It's not just here in the United States. This is internationally. It's globally. It's everywhere. It's not just here in one place, and it doesn't have a specific person, gender of who it wants. Anybody, children, adults, old people, anybody can be subject to be exposed or be a part of human trafficking or any type of exploitation.
Hmm.
So
Wow.
those are my two things.
And that's
Coming from a
the whole
survivor myself.
goal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The whole goal of this guide is to prevent
Yes.
or to have these conversations. Yeah.
And to
Before.
educate. And to educate. It's
Yeah.
very important. And a lot of people, like you said, you might not feel like this is something that I need to talk to my kids about.
Yeah.
But it's heavy and this generation is a little more advanced. I don't remember having a phone or iPad. I
No.
remember going outside and I had to
Yeah.
be home before it got dark.
Yep. Yeah. They have
I don't
so much,
remember
such
this stuff.
easy access to stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Andrea, can you talk a little bit about why children are most at risk or more at risk maybe than adults are?
At its core, when you think about a child who's either experiencing homelessness, extreme poverty, neglect, abuse
Mm.
in the home, when you're experiencing those as an adult, there are opportunities for you to exit that are different when you're a child. And you're able, and this is something no kid wants to hear, but it's true. Sorry, kiddos, but your brains aren't fully developed. And so you don't really, your idea of long-term thinking is what you're going to have for lunch. It's totally fine. But when you're in a crisis situation and you're a kid, you're trying to get out, you're for someone to help you, someone approaching you and saying, hey, I can give you a little extra cash. Don't tell your parents. Or, hey, give me a picture in exchange. I'll send you 20. That'll take care of your phone bill. Like those types of things. Kids are thinking day to day, minute to minute, and they don't have the ability and the resources to exit situations in the same way adults. And adults can also become victims. All right. I had someone, well, I don't really need to learn about trafficking because I just have boys. About 40 my child victims are boys and often much younger, so 8, 9, 10 years old, and that's really important for people to understand. I also think, prior to my previous work at another organization, and now the vast majority of survivors I would encounter would have had all of those risk factors. So not having a dad in their life, feeling like they had to leave home, experiencing violence and not knowing where to go. However, with the pandemic and the way the online world, we're starting to see more and more young people. Their parents are trying their best. The young man that I mentioned, they have food on the table. They feel kind of inoculated from the issue, but the reality is that traffickers who are preying upon young people online, they don't care about background. What they're looking for is this core combination of how can they exploit your vulnerabilities. So I know a little girl who lost her mom when she was a little bitty girl. So she talks about that kind of stuff with people she meets online, and I'm like, oh, because it's just like putting a giant target on her head.
Yeah.
What does the trafficker do in that situation? Like mommy role. And so it's really important, you know, we think about who's at risk. To think open-minded. Those risk factors don't mean something bad about that child or that family. It just means that vulnerability can be hidden. And so how do we fill that gap? So that's sort of my kind of encapsulation. And like the whole thing is that those who are at risk is shifting and expanding. I hope that's not scary sounding, but you have to acknowledge.
Yeah, building awareness around it. Yeah, I love. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, only a couple more questions. Does it cut out every time we keep getting much? Oh, sorry.
No worries.
But for Aaliyah, how can parents learn more and then get the guide, and maybe a few like sneak peeks of what all is included in the guide, or maybe like a quick walkthrough?
Yeah, absolutely. So everybody can access the guide for free at www.wepreventtrafficking.org. You can download it right from the homepage there. You can also download different modules, and it covers everything from how to, like, some tips and tricks around how to communicate with your child to different types of trafficking, and there's activities to do. So covering things like labor trafficking, sextortion, the intersection with homelessness. But one of the things that I love about this guide is it not only helps kids build their muscles to kind of navigate these situations, like Andrea was just talking about, and preventing their vulnerabilities, but also identifying potential challenges they might see in their peers, right? Like maybe they're going to school and they notice something happening for a friend, and they can come home and talk to you more openly, like, hey, something's going on with my friend. How can we help?
Yeah.
And so maybe you think everything's fine in your family, but your child actually could become an activist and be out there helping other kids at their school and in their community.
Wow.
And the website also has some resources for you of how you can get involved in your community in supporting survivors if your kid really wants to take the next step in becoming an activist. So again, I think you put it down in the chat. Thank you. It's wepreventtrafficking.org.
Of course, yeah, and I will. I don't know if I can like edit the description after the fact for when we save it, but I can. I'll comment with the link again. Sorry. Really quickly, as we kind of wrap up, I know you guys are trying to make these chats quick, but when can people tune into the next chat, and who is hosting it?
Excellent. So thank you. We have our next IG Live next Wednesday on the 7th at 1:30 Pacific time, 4:30 Eastern Standard Time, and we're trying to be consistent with this Wednesday time. Folks can follow We Are Corona Rising and can follow Freedom Forward. Alia, is that forward with the full forward or the FWD?
It's FWD. So Freedom FWD is our handle.
That in the chat. And then you can also learn a little bit more about the issue by going to the website. And our good friend Brittany is going to be hosting that IG Live, and you'll be seeing updates on our pages on where to take a look, and we'll drop the link in a chat to her page as well. But we're so happy. Thank you so much, Olivia, for being our I really am honored to get you as well. So thank you so much. This has been a great start.
I am excited to download it and start chatting with my girls too. They get home from vacation in like an hour. So we have lots of time to chat over the summer, and I really appreciate you guys empowering parents in this way, and I'm honored to be a part of it. So
awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.